What's up, everybody? Megan Fowler here. Welcome back to my channel. If you've never been here before, make yourself at home because, girl, we got another story time today. As you can see, today I'm going to be telling you my stalker story because you know what? Are you really a YouTuber if you don't have a stalker story? No, you're not. No, but this is 110% real. Everything that I say actually did happen to me. This isn't for views or whatever. Let's just jump into it then. If you didn't already know, I am from North Pole, Alaska, and this is where this entire story takes place. About 2 years ago, I'd say this took place about two and a half years ago before I moved to California, I had a job at a coffee hut, and the coffee hut was in North Pole. It was like 5 minutes from my house. Coffee huts are like super popular in Alaska, especially when it's like negative 50 degrees and you don't want to walk into Starbucks and get your coffee, you know? So they were really popular. We had them everywhere. Yeah. So my best friend worked at this coffee hut in North Pole and she ended up getting me a job there. I remember my first day she was training me and this guy came to the window. He was just a regular customer there, kind of older. He was not super old, like I'd say like late 30s. Yeah, so he came to the window. This is my first time meeting him. As I said, it's my first day at work and he was just pretty talkative with me. And I remember after he left, my friend said that he was never really talkative like that towards people or really paid much attention to the baristas. And I didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, whatever. I mean, we were talking, whatever. I don't exactly remember when the turning point was where I started getting kind of like weirded out by this man, but I remember one day, it kind of took me by surprise. He came to get his coffee. I made it for him, gave it to him, and when he was leaving, he winked at me and like, it was just like, it was very awkward. I don't know. He just like winked at me and left and I was like, bye, old man. So like I said, when I first started working at the coffee hut, he would just come once a day, like every morning to grab his coffee. But at this time, he was starting to come like 2 to 3 times a day to get a coffee. And it was only on the days that I was working because I would ask the other girls and they said that he didn't do that every day when they would work. And the thing is, when you're at the coffee hut, you can see like who's working because we had to park right outside of it and there was only 1 to 2 girls working at a time, so there would just be 1 or 2 cars out there and you could see who's working by driving by. He started to be a little more weird. Like he would come by the coffee hut and I wouldn't want to get it because it was the other girl's turn, because you take turns making coffees when it's slow. And so it'd be the other girl's turn and I'd just be chilling in the back where you can't see me, and he would come up to the window and be like,
"Hey, can Megan make my coffee? I see her car's here. I know she's working. Can she make it?"
And I would just be like, okay, I guess I'll make your coffee for you. And so I would do it. And I remember one of those days, it was around Christmas time and he wanted me to make his coffee. So I get up and I'm making his coffee for him. And I had just bought in these new, like, they were leggings with like a Christmas pattern on them, kind of. I was making his coffee and I remember he was already like uncomfortably staring at me because he would usually like literally just sit there and watch me make his coffee. And if I were to look over and make eye contact with him, he would just be like, and just keep on watching me. So I'm standing there and I'm making his coffee and then he starts talking to me and he's like,
"Oh, I really like your pants."
And I was like,
"Oh, thank you."
trying to make a joke. And so I was like,
"Yeah, my mom said I look like a giant sock."
ha ha ha, because like I did. So I say that my mom said I look like a sock, jokingly, and then he looks me up and down. Let me just show you, okay? This is him.
I would wear that sock.
And I literally was just like, did he really just say that to me? Oh my god, oh my god. I wanted to throw up in his coffee, bro. So that was like the first time he decided to be bold and like say something like that to me. I think that was kind of the turning point when he said that, because I already noticed him like staring at me and all these little things, but now I was like, okay, like he got a crush on your girl and he's shooting his shot right now. Yikes. No, that all sounds all fun and innocent. I didn't expect it to get as weird as it ended up being, but yeah, we'll get to that. At this point, it's been kind of just innocent type things, like him just always being like, "Oh, you look really, really nice today," or him hanging at the coffee hut a little longer than he needs to, just like talking to me about random stuff, or just you know, just stuff like that. I was weirded out, but not to the point where I was like, oh, he's a creeper, you know? So one night I'm working alone because I was closing, and we would close the hut at, I think it was 7 o'clock. 7 or 8, I'm gonna go 7. So it's 7 o'clock, or it was like 5 minutes till 7, and I'm just hurrying, cleaning, just doing my job. Also, let me just say, this is in the winter time, so in Alaska at this point, it is pitch black outside. I mean, we have like 2 hours of sunlight a day at this point. It is like negative 30 degrees out. It is pitch black outside. It's like a ghost town at this point. I'm not having any customers. That's like the dangerous part of the job, because honestly, working at a coffee hut that's kind of in the middle of nowhere in the pitch black, like, it's just dangerous. And there's been girls that have been kidnapped from huts. Like, it's scary. It really is, especially when you have to take the trash out and you have to walk across this dark parking lot, not knowing if like somebody's out there, like you can't see anything. So anyway, I'm just minding my own business. I'm cleaning a bunch, and then I hear the bell go off because somebody pulled up to the window. I'm already annoyed, honestly, because we close in like less than 5 minutes. I don't want to make coffee right now. I go up in the window, and I didn't even give this guy a name yet. I'm just gonna call him what we would call him at the hut. We would basically just call people the name of the drink they always got. Like, this guy's regular was a polar bear, so I called him Polar Bear Dude. Polar Bear Dude. I open the window and Polar Bear Dude is there. I think at this point in time, I'm already like turned off of him. Like, he kind of already is creeping me out, so I'm trying not to engage in conversation with him when he comes to the hut anymore. I'm trying to just make it business and have him leave. And I'm like, oh, hey, do you just want your regular? And he's like, so creepy, bro. I ask him if he would just like his regular, and I you not. This is what this man tells me, okay?
Oh no, I'm not here for coffee. I was just sitting in the parking lot across the street watching you clean for a while, and you looked pretty bored, so I thought I'd come over and keep you company.
What the? I don't want you to keep me company, bro. Not today, not ever. I need a drink. So yeah, he just nonchalantly tells me that he's been sitting across the street watching me for a while. Not creepy at all, right? No red flags there. I don't even remember what the hell I said to this man. I think I was just like, oh, no, I'm not bored. I'm just trying to hurry and clean so I can get out of here, you know, when we close in like 5 minutes. He doesn't take that hint at all. He just proceeds to start talking to me, ask how my day is. I'm just trying to be nice, so I'm like being short with him and cleaning like at the same time that I'm talking to him. So finally I say something along, just like something hinting at the fact that I'm gonna go back inside now, and I'm like,
okay, Leah, you have a nice night, like, bye, drive safe.
And he just sits there and he looks forward and he just has this really sad look on his face, and then he goes,
yeah, guess I'll just go home to an empty house again since my wife left me anyway.
And I'm just sitting there like, okay, we'll drive safe. So for some reason, I decide to indulge in his little pity party, and I ask if he's okay. And then he goes on telling me how his wife just cheated on him with one of her co-workers and decided to leave him, but gave all of her animals to him. I don't even know. So he just starts telling me this long ass story, telling me how his wife left him and he's single now, and how he has the house all to himself, like being so weird. And I'm just not like, ew, what? And he's just telling me all of this. And then finally I'm like, you know what? I don't want to talk to him anymore. Like, I'm just gonna get him out of here. So then I proceed to say, I'm like,
you know what? It's really cold. I'm freezing. I have to get cleaning done. This window being open is making the hut really cold right now, but I'll see you tomorrow. Drive safe.
And then he cuts me off and goes,
well, don't you have a jacket in there? Just put your jacket on.
And I did have a jacket hanging on the back door, but like,
Dude.
I want you to leave. So then I tell him I don't have a jacket, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have a jacket. Oh well, like, bye. Then he starts taking his coat off, and he's like,
oh, here, wear mine.
I was just so annoyed at this point, okay? So he's like, oh yeah, here, have mine. And I just looked at him and I was like,
no, I'm not wearing your jacket.
And he was like caught off guard, and he was like,
well, that was kind of rude, don't you think?
and I was like,
No, I don't think it's rude at all. I said I want to go inside now and I don't want to wear your jacket. You can just go home.
And so he finally, gets the hint, and he's just like laughing, and he's like,
All right, little lady, I'm out of here.
and then he goes and pulls out $2 bills, and then he starts handing them to me, and I'm like, no, like, don't tip me. You didn't even get anything. Like, you don't need to tip me. He just looks deep into my eyes, and with his hand still stretched out, he goes,
Yeah. Well, my number's on there.
I took the money. You already know. And after that, he was just like so happy with himself. Like, you could tell that he was like,
Oh yeah, I just spit game, bro.
like he looked so happy, and then he just drove off and he just left. I was so weirded out because I'm in the middle of nowhere. Nobody's around me. It is pitch black. I'm closed and all by myself. And this man just came up and told me that he's been watching me for a while, so that was cool. Yeah, then I ended up closing the hut and I got home safe. Nobody murdered me. Then a couple days later, like after that, I was so freaked out. Like, I did not feel comfortable or safe working by myself. I felt disgusted. I didn't even want to see him anymore. So real quick, let me just say that I did have a boyfriend at the time. I was telling my boyfriend everything. I was telling him after work, or I would text him and be like, yo, polar bear dude just did this now. So he knew about what was going on, and he already made up his mind that he hates this dude, So my boyfriend was at my house like a week after this scenario happened, and we decided we want to go get snacks and stuff, so we went to the local grocery store. While we're checking out in line, I look over and I glance and I see polar bear dude. Like, I had never seen this man outside of his car before. He was like over 6 feet tall. Like, he was a giant. He was scary. And to my boyfriend, I'm like, oh my God, like, I just saw polar bear dude. That's crazy. I'm not thinking anything of telling him, but as soon as my boyfriend hears that polar bear dude is at the store, he's like,
Oh, okay, one minute, I'll be right back.
and I was like,
No, what are you doing? Stop it.
he was just like,
No, I'm gonna go talk to him real quick. Like, I'm just gonna go see what's up if he wants to keep making comments to my girlfriend.
I literally couldn't do anything about it. I was just like,
Oh, fuck. Okay.
so he walks off, and I don't know what's going on. They're like down an aisle, and then my boyfriend comes back, and he's just like,
All right, everything's good, let's get out of here.
and then in the car, my boyfriend was telling me that the guy was basically denying it all and saying that he never does any of that to me. Just saying I'm lying, basically. Yeah. So the next day I have work, and I go to work, and I'm working with this girl named Shelby. I had already filled her in on everything that happened. Everybody already knows the ordeal I've been going through for months. And they know about what just happened when he told me that he was sitting there and watching me. We see polar bear dude pulling up to the hut, and I'm like, oh, damn. I go and I'm hiding in the back. Not even hiding, I'm just like sitting out of view from the window so he can't see me. Shelby goes and she's like, hi, do you want your regular? And he was like,
No, I want to speak to Megan right now.
right now. So I hear him say that, and Shelby kind of like looks over at me, and I'm like, and she's like, oh, she's not here today. Okay, she said,
Oh, she's not here today, but you just want your regular?
and he cuts her off again and goes,
No, she is here today because I can see her car.
and then I'm back there and I'm like, you know what? I ain't scared of shit. All right, let me talk to him then. So I go up to the window and I'm like, yes. And he starts going off. He's like, I don't appreciate your little boyfriend coming up to me in public and blah, blah, blah. I never did anything to make you feel uncomfortable. And at that point, I just had to cut him off. I was like,
Okay, hold up.
you don't do anything to make me uncomfortable, really? Did you not just come to the hut the other night and tell me that you were watching me from across the street? Did you not try to offer me your jacket so I would stay and talk to you when I obviously wanted to go back inside? Like, I was just like very blunt with him. You do things that are creepy. Like, you do. Then at the end, he's just like,
You know what? This is ridiculous. Sorry if I made you feel any type of way being friendly.
like, pulling the whole, hate when guys do that. Guys know when they're creepy, okay? And they try to act like it's annoying. Yeah, we go back and forth for a couple minutes, and then finally he's just like mad and he drives away. And I'm thinking he's never coming to the hut again. Thank God. So a couple days go by and nobody sees him. Like, we just think that he's done coming to the hut. And one day I'm working and he pulls up. So awkward. I was working by myself, and so I went up and I was like, hi, do you want your regular? Without looking at me or giving me any, like, he would just stare straight at his steering wheel and be like,
just my regular.
and I just close the window because usually we would talk to everybody, all of our customers, and keep the windows open, but I would just close the window, make his coffee, go up and be like, $4.75. And then he would take his money and just be like, still not looking at me at all. And he'd be like,
Keep the change.
and just like drive away. It's so weird because after all of that, I would talk to the other girls, and even though he was only coming like once a day now, the other girls never saw him because you know what? He was still only coming to the hut when he saw my car, and that is the only time he would come there. It was just so freaking weird. Like I've forgotten a lot of the stuff that happened because like I said, this is like a little over 2 years ago, but and then I moved out of Alaska and I don't think he's stalking me anymore. I think he stayed his ass in Alaska. But anyway, yeah, that's the end of my little stalker story. I just had a little stalker at work for a hot minute. It was fun. Wouldn't do it again. Wouldn't wish it upon anybody. I hope you guys enjoyed, and sound off in the comments below and tell me what you would have done if somebody came to your work and told you that they've been watching you from across the street for some time and that you looked bored and they'd like to come keep, you know, that is so creepy. I should have just been like,
I'm calling the cops. I'm calling the police. I'm calling the FBI.
and as always, if you like what you saw, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel to be notified of future content. Join the Fowler family. You won't regret it. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.